Okay, now we are cooking. 2 in 2 days. Average age of 32 and a half years. But look, I know this is just the start. It's good we're doing business early, and Luton Town have signed George Saville on a free from Millwall. Now, this is one, I mentioned it in my Cal Naismith video. I think George Saville is, on the face of it, a very good signing. It gives me sort of the feels of when Luton Town signed Alan McCormack. And Alan McCormack was crucial in a promotion-winning side. Sometimes you just need that little touch of experience in a inexperienced midfield. But this opens up a lot of questions in terms of who's staying? Who else is coming in? Are we going purely now for the elder statesman type of players? That's an interesting one. But I do think this is, well, with Savile and Naismith coming in, this is a very good start to the transfer window for Luton Town. And the transfer window which has, of course, slammed shut already for the Club World Cup Championships. A competition that absolutely no one is watching. I couldn't even tell you who is competing in it.
Ignorance is bliss.
Genuinely, I have no idea who is competing in the Club World Cup Championships. I thought it was something that happened mid-season, but apparently not. Good thing we cancelled all those FA Cup replays, because these players must be tired. Bless their little souls. Anyway, regardless, this is a video about Luton Town signing George Saville. Saville comes in. He is a defensive midfielder. He is combative. He is resilient. He's always been a right little nudge whenever Luton Town have played Millwall. And I think he is exactly the type of character we need. We are getting back to the Luton signings. None of these luxury players that we signed when we were in the Premier League, they come along just because they want to showcase their talents and use us as a stepping stone to better things. I'm looking at Tahith Chong. There are a lot of these players that we signed, and fair play. Look, most clubs are stepping stones. I'm not bitter about that. I just want a player that we signed to actually be 100% committed to the cause, give their all, and be competent. That's all I ask. We filled our squad with a lot of incompetent players and a lot of injury-prone players. So the likes of Marv Nakamba. So Marv Nakamba, he's one. We signed him. He was on flames when we signed him on loan at the back end of the 22-23 season. He was instrumental. And I said it back when I was way back when I was on the Oak Road Hatter podcast. I said that Marvelous Nakamba was the difference between making the playoffs and not making the playoffs. I got that wrong. He was the difference between promotion and not getting promoted. That was Marv Nakamba pre-injury. Then in the Premier League season, Marv Nakamba got injured and he has not been the same player since. He went from playing every minute of every game to playing, we were discussing it in our WhatsApp group, the OK Football WhatsApp group. And I think Wedge said, yeah, Nakamba has missed 80% of the games. And I said, 80% is generous. I'd say Marv Nakamba's probably missed closer to 95% of our games since he signed on a permanent contract. And you don't have to be an insider to know that Marv Nakamba is probably the highest paid or one of the highest paid players at the club. We had to make things happen. We had to move mountains to get Marv Nakamba in at our club. And right now, in League One, we cannot be... He's a burden, essentially. And I'm sure because he signed permanently for us when we were a Premier League team, I'm sure the last thing he wanted was to be playing League One football. So George Saville comes in. I imagine that means Marv Nakamba is on his way out. We obviously now have Cal Naismith now, who can also play in the defensive midfield role. Just a word on Cal Naismith, because I had a long chat with Lewis Williams. I was on my way down to Kent for work today, and I had a long chat with Lewis Williams, about half an hour, and he took umbrage with something I said in my video about Cal Naismith. He said, how can you say it's a Gary Sweet mandated signing? Well, I said, okay, maybe Cal Naismith was on Matt Bloomfield's list, which Lewis was certain and said Cal Naismith was a player that Matt Bloomfield wanted to sign. Okay, and that's fine. Then why didn't Matt Bloomfield play him? He only missed, and Lewis made a good point. Cal Naismith only missed one game because of injury, the Watford game, which was probably the one game in the back end of the season that, you'd want Cal Naismith in, because, Mads Anderson looks an absolute shambles in that game. But Cal Naismith was available for a lot of the other games, other than when he, after he got suspended for the 2 yellows against Burnley, which, fair play, shows his lack of speed. And then Lewis said, well, Cal Naismith can play in a back four. I was like, well, he can't, he's not that quick. And if you're playing him with, say, Mark McGuinness, you're going to have a really slow middle two in the back four, aren't you? But yeah. And Cal Naismith hasn't got the blistering pace that you need to play left back. And we've signed George Saville in defensive midfield. So that's why I said Cal Naismith doesn't really fit into what we're trying to do and move forward with in this new formation that Matt Bloomfield is hopefully going to bring in. Right, it's probably a good time to read this press release from the club regarding George Saville. George Saville becomes the latest new arrival. Northern Ireland international midfielder agrees move to Kenilworth Road. Experienced Championship midfielder George Saville will become the Hatters' second signing of the summer when his contract expires with Millwall at the end of June. The current Northern Ireland international, who turned 32 last week, has agreed to join the town after playing a key role in the Lions' past 4 seasons in the second tier. He has been an incredibly consistent performer for Millwall, and on the face of it, he is an absolutely tremendous signing. Definitely at League One level. Manager Matt Bloomfield said, we're really pleased to sign George, not just because of the experience and quality he'll bring, but because he's really enthused about the challenge that lies ahead. He's chosen us over some championship offers, which shows his belief in our club, and that's the type of character we're after. A tactically astute defensive midfielder and a player who can influence those around him. We're hoping George can help us with his leadership and ability to knit the game together in the middle of the pitch. He's going to be an important component of the squad as we start to mould the group for what we need next season, and I'm extremely happy to have got this first piece of important business over the line already. First piece? Pretty sure Cal Naismith was the first piece. Matt Bloomfield, was he not? In his first interview, Savile said, when I first heard there was an option, it was something I was really interested in, and after a few conversations, it became a no-brainer. It's been a tough couple of years for the club, but this is now a chance to correct that. Speaking with the manager and what he wanted to do, there's a chance to build something, create a good atmosphere, and have a good season. Well, George, that's what we all want. We want a good season. We need to bounce back first time of asking. But as I said earlier, there's still a lot of business to be done. A lot of players that have to be exited. I understand there are a lot of offers on the table for the likes of Makoso, Fanny, a lot of interest. And it's interesting to see where we go, who we bring in next, because this is, and I reiterate, this is the most important summer in Luton Town's recent history. Because if we get it right, we go back up. First time of asking. We get it wrong, it can go so wrong. And we're opening Power Court as a League One football club. What do you think about George Saville joining Luton Town? As always, a reminder, if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Follow us for even more Luton Town and EFL news as the season goes on. Everyone, have a great day. And most importantly, come on, you Hatters.